My name is Diego. I am a storyteller, and my tale begins with betrayal. They left me at the hotel like I was worthless, abandoned by those I thought cared. It was an evening of despair, the remnants of laughter from the distant bar contrasting with the loneliness settling into my bones. Timothy and Sandra had promised a night of joy, but their absence felt like a heavy weight on my heart. As I sat alone, lingering memories began to surface, memories of my father. He was a quiet man, full of wisdom yet burdened by life's hardships. Among his belongings, I discovered an old letter, yellowed and brittle, and I opened it with trembling hands. The words spoke of sacrifice and love, a story of his unwavering support that had gone unnoticed. The letter revealed hidden truths about his struggles to provide, to shield me from the harshness of the world. In that moment, I realized my worth was not defined by their actions. I carried the legacy of strength and resilience within me. I would no longer allow their indifference to overshadow my spirit. They would learn who truly paid for everything, and with that, I found my voice. As I stood there, a renewed sense of purpose coursing through me, I couldn't help but remember the conversations I once had with Timothy about the importance of seizing opportunities, of not letting life pass by unnoticed. His words, while often intended to inspire, now felt like a challenge I was more than ready to face. The laughter from the bar below, once a haunting echo of my solitude, became a siren call, urging me to join the world outside. Taking a step back, I examined the room once more. The small desk bearing the weight of memories, the flickering lamp casting soft pools of light that danced across the walls. Each shadow seemed to whisper secrets of resilience, reminding me that I was not merely a spectator in my own life. I was the author of my story, and it was time to write a new chapter. One filled with courage and self-discovery. The walls, once a confining prison, were now a canvas awaiting my brushstrokes. I grabbed my jacket from the chair, shrugging it on as I made my way to the door. With every step, I felt my heart race, not with fear, but with anticipation. What awaited me outside? Friends? New experiences? A chance to reclaim my joy? The uncertainty was thrilling, and it sparked a fire within me that I had thought long extinguished. As I stepped into the hallway, the sounds of the bar grew louder, enveloping me in a vibrant energy that felt almost electric. I could hear snippets of conversation, the clinking of glasses, the warmth of laughter spilling into the air. I paused for a moment, taking a deep breath, allowing the scent of hope and camaraderie to fill my lungs. I was ready to be part of something bigger than myself, to connect with others who could perhaps understand my journey. Navigating down the staircase, I caught myself smiling. It felt foreign, yet liberating. I was no longer the abandoned figure in a hotel room. I was Diego, stepping back into the light. My father's words echoed in my mind, a reminder of the strength that I carried within me. I remembered his stories about facing challenges and overcoming adversity, the tales that painted him as a hero in my eyes. It was time for me to become my own hero. As I reached the bar, I spotted a familiar face, Amanda, a friend from my childhood who had often seen the world with a whimsical lens. Her laughter was like a melody that drew me in. She was surrounded by a group of friends, their faces bright with joy. As I approached them, I felt a rush of excitement mixed with trepidation, but I squared my shoulders, ready to embrace whatever came next. "Diego!" Amanda exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. "I was just talking about you. Come join us." The warm invitation wrapped around me like a comfortable blanket, dispelling the remnants of loneliness that had shadowed my earlier hours. I could feel the weight of the past lift as I stepped into the circle of laughter. As the night unfolded, I found myself sharing stories, laughing, and connecting with others. Each moment felt like a small victory, a step further away from the darkness that had begun to cloud my heart. I realized that the bonds we create can form bridges over the chasms of despair. In that vibrant atmosphere, I found not just camaraderie, but a renewed understanding of the importance of connection. The laughter and chatter swirled around me, filling the night with a warmth I had long craved. I glanced around at the faces of those who embraced me, and I could feel my father's presence in my heart, cheering me on. I had reclaimed my joy, and it felt like the first rays of dawn after a long, dark night. I was not alone, nor would I ever allow myself to be again. In this moment of unity, I saw Timothy cross the room, his familiar smile breaking through the noise. He joined our group, and I could sense his energy radiating positivity. "I'm so glad you came, Diego," he said, clapping me on the back. "It's moments like these that remind us how important it is to be surrounded by good friends." His words struck a chord within me, reinforcing the realization that life thrives on these connections. With Amanda, Timothy, and the others, I delved deeper into conversations that stretched far beyond the surface. We shared dreams, fears, and aspirations, weaving our stories together like threads in a tapestry. Each word exchanged felt like a healing balm, soothing the wounds of my past. As the night wore on, I felt my past melt away, replaced by a sense of belonging. The darkness I had battled began to dissipate, replaced by the joy of shared experiences. I was not just alive, I was truly living, and my story was only just beginning. Each laugh resonated in my heart, a reminder that life was a series of moments to be cherished. The bar, once a mere backdrop, transformed into a sanctuary of friendship and hope. I realized then, surrounded by those who cared, that we were all in this journey together, navigating the twists and turns of life as a collective force. I felt empowered, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, fortified by the love and support that surrounded me. The cool mountain air brushed against my skin as I stepped outside the hotel, a stark contrast to the warmth of the memories I had just unearthed. I had been left there, abandoned by Timothy and Sandra, who had promised me a night of celebration. Instead, I found myself alone, grappling with the weight of betrayal and the echoes of laughter that now felt like a distant memory. But as I stood there, I felt a change brewing within me, a flicker of resolve igniting like a flame. I took a deep breath, inhaling the crisp air, and recalled the old letter I had discovered among my father's belongings. The words within it had spoken of sacrifice, of love that often went unnoticed. My father had faced countless challenges, and yet he had always found a way to support me, to shield me from the harsh realities of life. I realized that my worth was not determined by how others treated me, but rather by the strength I carried within. With newfound clarity, I began to walk down the path that led away from the hotel, the flickering lights of the bar below beckoning me like a siren call. I remembered the conversations I had shared with Timothy about seizing opportunities and embracing life. His words, once a gentle nudge, now felt like a rallying cry. I was ready to reclaim my joy and step into a world that had been waiting for me. As I made my way down the stairs, the sounds of laughter and conversation filled the air, wrapping around me like a warm embrace. Each step felt lighter, as if I was shedding the weight of abandonment with every footfall. The bar, once a place of solitude, now pulsed with energy and life. I could hear snippets of laughter and the clinking of glasses, a melody of camaraderie that called to me. When I finally reached the bar, I spotted Amanda among a group of familiar faces. Her laughter rang out like a bell, cutting through the noise and drawing me in. She was surrounded by friends, their faces bright with joy, and as I approached, I felt a surge of anticipation. Maybe this was the connection I had longed for, the reminder that I was not alone in this world. "Diego!" Amanda exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I was just talking about you. Come join us." Her warm invitation wrapped around me like a blanket, and I could feel the remnants of loneliness dissipating. I stepped into the circle, and as I did, the weight of the past began to lift. The night unfolded in a blur of laughter and shared stories. I found myself opening up, sharing fragments of my journey, and listening to the tales of others. Each moment felt like a small victory, a step further away from the darkness that had threatened to engulf me. I realized that the bonds we form can bridge the chasms of despair, and in that vibrant atmosphere, I discovered a renewed understanding of the importance of connection. As I looked around at the faces of those who embraced me, I felt my father's presence in my heart, cheering me on. The memories of my abandonment began to fade, replaced by the warmth of friendship and understanding. I was not just a bystander in my own life. I was Diego, stepping back into the light. Amid the laughter, I saw Timothy cross the room, his familiar smile breaking through the noise. He joined our group, his energy radiating positivity. "I'm so glad you came, Diego," he said, clapping me on the back. "It's moments like these that remind us how important it is to be surrounded by good friends." His words resonated within me, reinforcing the realization that life thrives on connection. We delved deeper into conversations that stretched beyond the surface. We shared our dreams, fears, and aspirations, weaving our stories together like threads in a tapestry. Each word exchanged felt like a healing balm, soothing the wounds of my past. The darkness I had battled began to dissipate, replaced by the joy of shared experiences. As the night wore on, I felt my past melt away, replaced by a sense of belonging. I was not just alive, I was truly living, and my story was only just beginning. Each laugh resonated in my heart, a reminder that life was a series of moments to be cherished. The bar, once a mere backdrop, transformed into a sanctuary of friendship and hope. I realized then, surrounded by those who cared, that we were all in this journey together, navigating the twists and turns of life as a collective force. In that moment of unity, I felt empowered, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The love and support that enveloped me fortified my spirit, and I knew I was no longer defined by the actions of others. I was Diego, a storyteller of my own life, and I was reclaiming my narrative. As the clock ticked toward midnight, the atmosphere shifted slightly, a gentle reminder that the night would soon come to an end. But I felt no sadness, only gratitude. I had discovered the strength to rise above the hurt, to embrace the connections that nourished my soul. With Amanda and Timothy by my side, I knew that I could face whatever awaited me in the days to come. As the night drew to a close, I took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought me here. I had walked through the shadows of betrayal and loneliness, only to emerge stronger and more resilient. I had learned that my worth was not dictated by the actions of others, but by the love I carried within myself. And as I looked around at the faces of my friends, I felt a sense of hope blossoming within me, a hope that whispered of new beginnings and endless possibilities. I was ready to write my own story, to embrace the adventure that lay ahead, and to discover the beauty of life once more. As I stood outside the hotel, the cool mountain air wrapped around me, I felt the sting of abandonment. Timothy and Sandra had promised me a night of celebration, yet here I was, left alone to grapple with the remnants of their laughter echoing in my mind. I had been the odd one out, the one left behind, while they reveled in the warmth of friendship inside. The flickering lights of the bar below called to me like a distant memory of joy, but the weight of betrayal sat heavy on my chest. Just then, I remembered the old letter I had discovered among my father's belongings. The words had spoken of sacrifice, of love often overlooked. My father had faced countless challenges, yet he always found a way to support me, shielding me from the harsh realities of life. I realized that my worth was not defined by how others treated me, but by the strength I carried within. With a newfound clarity, I began to walk down the path leading away from the hotel. Each step felt like a small act of defiance against the hurt that sought to drag me down. I could almost hear Timothy's voice in my head, urging me to seize the moment, to embrace life despite its challenges. His words, once a gentle nudge, now felt like a rallying cry, igniting a fire within me. As I made my way down the stairs, the sounds of laughter and conversation filled the air, wrapping around me like a warm embrace. I spotted Amanda among a group of familiar faces, her laughter ringing out like a bell, cutting through the noise and drawing me in. She was surrounded by friends, their faces bright with joy, and as I approached, I felt a surge of anticipation. Perhaps this was the connection I had longed for, the reminder that I was not alone.
"Diego!" Amanda exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I was just talking about you. Come join us." Her warm invitation enveloped me, and I could feel the remnants of loneliness dissipating. I stepped into the circle, and as I did, the weight of the past began to lift. The night unfolded in a blur of laughter and shared stories. I found myself opening up, sharing fragments of my journey and listening to the tales of others. Each moment felt like a small victory, a step further away from the darkness that had threatened to engulf me. As the night wore on, I felt my past melt away, replaced by a sense of belonging. The darkness I had battled began to dissipate, replaced by the joy of shared experiences. I was not just alive, I was truly living, and my story was only just beginning. Surrounded by those who cared, I realized we were all navigating the twists and turns of life together, a collective force of support and understanding. Then I saw Timothy cross the room,
His familiar smile breaking through the noise. He joined our group, his energy radiating positivity. "I'm so glad you came, Diego," he said, clapping me on the back. "It's moments like these that remind us how important it is to be surrounded by good friends." His words resonated within me, reinforcing the realization that life thrives on connection. We delved deeper into conversations that stretched beyond the surface. We shared our dreams, fears, and aspirations, weaving our stories together like threads in a tapestry. Each word exchanged felt like a healing balm, soothing the wounds of my past. I realized that despite the pain of betrayal, I had the power to reshape my narrative, to embrace the connections that nourished my soul. As the clock ticked toward midnight, the atmosphere shifted slightly, a gentle reminder that the night would soon come to an end. But I felt no sadness, only gratitude. I had discovered the strength to rise above the hurt, to embrace the friendships that had emerged from the shadows. Timothy and Amanda had become anchors in my life, reminding me that I was not defined by the actions of others, but by the love I carried within myself. The laughter and chatter swirled around me, filling the night with warmth I had long craved. I glanced around at the faces of those who embraced me, and I could feel my Father's presence in my heart, cheering me on. I had reclaimed my joy, and it felt like the first rays of dawn after a long, dark night. I was not alone, nor would I ever allow myself to be again. As I reflected on the journey that had brought me here, I realized I had walked through the shadows of betrayal and loneliness only to emerge stronger and more resilient. I had learned that my worth was not dictated by the actions of others, but by the love I carried within myself. And as I looked around at the faces of my friends, a sense of hope blossomed within me, a hope that whispered of new beginnings and endless possibilities. As the night drew to a close, I took a moment to appreciate the connections I had forged. I had learned the importance of being surrounded by good friends, of embracing the moments that made life worth living. With Amanda and Timothy by my side, I knew I could face whatever awaited me in the days to come. With each laugh and shared story, I felt the shadows of my past recede, leaving room for the light of friendship and hope to shine through. I was ready to write my own story, to embrace the adventure that lay ahead, and to discover the beauty of life once more. As I stepped back into the light, I felt a sense of determination wash over me. This was my time, and I was ready to embrace it fully. Amanda and Timothy stood at the edge of the mountain trail, their breath visible in the crisp air. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow that contrasted sharply with the chill of the evening. They had come to celebrate, but the weight of the past hung heavy in the air, an unspoken tension that neither wanted to acknowledge. "Are you sure about this?" Timothy asked, glancing sideways at Amanda. Maybe we should wait for Diego. He deserves to be part of this." Amanda's expression was a mix of uncertainty and resolve. "I know, but we can't keep waiting. We need to move forward. I can't keep pretending everything is fine when it's not." Timothy sighed, running a hand through his hair. "But leaving him behind feels wrong. We promised him this night would be special." "That was before everything blew up. Diego needs to understand that we can't hold our lives back for him. We have our own lives to live." Her voice softened, revealing the conflict within her. Timothy nodded, but doubt lingered in his eyes. "I just hope he realizes we care about him. I don't want him to think we abandoned him." As they stood there, the distant sounds of laughter and celebration echoed from the hotel below, a stark reminder of what they had chosen to leave behind. Amanda felt a pang of guilt but pushed it aside. They had to make a decision, and this was it. "Let's go," she said, her voice steady. "We'll find a way to explain it to him later. He'll understand." With a reluctant nod, Timothy followed Amanda down the trail, their footsteps crunching against the gravel. The moment felt monumental, a definitive shift in their lives that neither could fully grasp. As they descended, the shadows grew longer, enveloping them in a cloak of uncertainty. Meanwhile, Diego sat alone in the hotel room, staring out the window at the fading light. The laughter from the party below felt like a distant memory, a painful reminder of the connections he had once cherished. He had been left behind, a ghost in his own story, and the weight of that betrayal settled heavily on his chest. In the silence, he recalled the old letter he had discovered among his father's belongings, the words of sacrifice and love that had once comforted him. That night, beneath the weight of loneliness, he felt a flicker of resolve ignite within him. He was not worthless, nor was he defined by the actions of others. He was Diego, and he had a story to tell. As he turned away from the window, he caught a glimpse of his reflection in the glass, a man determined to reclaim his narrative. With renewed purpose, he stepped into his shoes, ready to confront the ghosts of his past and the friends who had left him behind. Outside, Amanda and Timothy reached the bottom of the trail, the vibrant energy of the celebration pulling them closer. But as they approached the entrance, a sense of unease washed over Timothy. He could feel that Diego's absence was a void they could not easily fill. "Wait," he said, halting Amanda in her tracks. "What if we go back? We can't just abandon him like this." Amanda hesitated, preserved between her resolve and the lingering guilt. "What do you think he'll say? We can't keep dragging this out. We need to take control of our lives." "But Diego is our friend. He deserves to know that we care," Timothy insisted, his voice rising above the noise of the party. Just then, a figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette that grew clearer as it approached. It was Diego, his expression a mixture of determination and hurt. The moment their eyes met, the air crackled with unspoken words. "Diego," Timothy stammered, taken aback, we were just about to come find you." Diego's gaze was piercing, and for a moment, the world around them faded. "You left me. You left me to celebrate without me, like I didn't matter." Amanda stepped forward, her heart racing. "We didn't mean to hurt you. It's just, we thought you needed space. We didn't know how to help." "Help?" Diego echoed, disbelief etched across his face. "By leaving me behind? That's not help. That's betrayal." Timothy felt the weight of Diego's words settle over him like a heavy shroud. "We thought you'd be okay. We thought you needed to process everything." "I needed you to be there with me. I needed my friends," Diego replied, his voice steady but filled with pain. "You don't just walk away from someone when they're hurting." The tension in the air thickened, and Amanda felt tears prick at her eyes. "We're so sorry, Diego. We thought we were doing the right thing. We didn't realize how much it would hurt you." Diego took a step back, his expression softening. "You don't get to decide what's right for me. I'm not your project. I'm your friend. I needed you both, and you chose to leave me at the hotel like I was worthless." Timothy took a breath, feeling the weight of his own guilt. "We were wrong, Diego. We should have been there for you. We want to make it right. Please, let's talk." The three of them stood there, the reality of their choices hanging in the air like a fragile thread. Diego's heart raced as he contemplated their words, the hurt still fresh, but mingling with a flicker of hope. "Maybe we can start over," he said slowly, his voice barely above a whisper. "But it'll take time. I need to know you'll be there for me when it counts." Amanda nodded, her eyes glistening with sincerity. "We will. We promise. We'll do better." Timothy stepped forward, extending his hand. "Let's face this together. We've all made mistakes, but we can learn from them. We're stronger together." As Diego took Timothy's hand, a sense of unity began to replace the lingering shadows of betrayal. They stood together, a trio once more, ready to face the challenges ahead. The night may have started with hurt, but it was transforming into something new, an opportunity for growth, understanding, and a deeper connection. Together, they would write the next chapter of their story, one filled with hope and resilience. Weeks passed since the confrontation, and the air between Amanda, Timothy, and Diego had shifted. Each day felt like an exercise in rebuilding, a careful dance of honesty and vulnerability. They had chosen to face the aftermath of their choices together, even when the shadows of doubt threatened to creep back in. One crisp afternoon, the three friends decided to hike up the mountain trail that overlooked the valley. It had become a symbolic place for them, a reminder of the night they had almost lost each other. As they walked, the sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the path. The laughter and chatter of their earlier conversations echoed in the air, lightening the heaviness that had once defined their interactions. "I still can't believe we let ourselves get so caught up in our own lives that we almost forgot about each other," Timothy said, glancing back at Diego. "It's like we were in our own little bubbles." Diego nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I get it. I've been in that place before, where everything feels overwhelming. But it's different now. I'm learning that I need to lean on you two, and I'm glad you're here." Amanda walked slightly ahead, her heart swelling with hope. "It's a lesson for all of us. We can't just focus on our own feelings and forget about the people who matter. We need to communicate, even when it's uncomfortable." They reached a clearing at the summit, and the view took their breath away. The valley stretched out below, painted in hues of green and gold, the horizon kissed by the setting sun. For a moment, they stood in silence, letting the beauty of the landscape wash over them. "Look how far we've come," Diego remarked, a smile breaking through the remnants of tension. "This view reminds me that there's always a way forward, even when it feels like we're stuck." Timothy leaned against a nearby tree, glancing at Diego. "I've been thinking about that letter you found, the one from your dad. It's clear he wanted you to know you're worth so much more than you sometimes believe." Diego's heart tightened at the mention of his father's words. "Yeah, it was a reminder of the strength I have within me, even when I doubt myself. I've been trying to embrace that." Amanda stepped closer, her voice gentle. "And we're here to remind you of that too. You're not alone in this. We've all made mistakes, but we're learning, together." As they stood there, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows that danced around them. The shadows felt less daunting now, more like reminders of the struggles they had faced. Diego took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past lift just a little. "Do you remember that night at the hotel?" Diego asked, his tone more reflective than accusatory. "I felt so abandoned, like I was nothing. But now I see it differently. It was a wake-up call for all of us." Timothy nodded slowly. "We needed that moment to realize how important our friendship is. It's easy to get lost in our own lives, but we can't let that happen again. We need to check in with each other, always." Amanda smiled, her eyes shining with sincerity. "And when life gets tough, we have to promise to be there for one another. That's what friends do." As they shared their thoughts, the sky transformed into a canvas of vibrant colors, pinks, oranges, and purples blending together in a breathtaking display. It felt like a celebration of their renewed bond, a reminder that even after the darkest nights, the dawn would always come. "Let's make a pact," Diego suggested, his voice steady. "No matter what happens, we commit to being honest with each other. If something is bothering us, we speak up. No more leaving anyone behind." Timothy and Amanda exchanged glances, their expressions serious but filled with understanding. "I'm in," Timothy said firmly. "We've learned the hard way." "And I don't want to lose you again." "Absolutely," Amanda agreed, her voice filled with conviction. "We'll support each other through everything, even when it's tough." With that commitment, they felt a sense of lightness envelop them, as if they had shed the burdens of the past. They took a moment to absorb the beauty around them, the vibrant colors of the sunset reflecting their newfound hope. As they began their descent, the path felt different, brighter, more promising. With each step, they left behind the shadows of doubt and betrayal, stepping into the light of friendship and understanding. In the weeks that followed, they created new memories together, each one reinforcing the strength of their bond. They shared laughter, stories, and even tears, navigating the complexities of their lives with a renewed sense of purpose. They spent evenings reminiscing about old times and planning for the future, ensuring that their friendship would weather any storm. One evening, as they gathered around a campfire under the stars, Diego looked at his friends with gratitude. "You both mean so much to me. I've learned that true friendship isn't just about the good times. It's also about standing by each other when things get tough." Amanda smiled warmly, her eyes sparkling with understanding. "And we'll always be here for you, Diego, no matter what." Timothy nodded, adding, "We're stronger together. We've faced the shadows, and now we can embrace the light." As they sat together, the flames flickering in the night, Diego felt a profound sense of peace. He had learned that while the past could be painful, it didn't define him. Instead, it was the love and support of his friends that shaped his journey forward. He was no longer a ghost in his own story. He was the author, ready to write the next chapter filled with hope, resilience, and unbreakable bonds. And as the stars twinkled above, preserve the original language of the text that celebrated life, friendship, and the beauty of second chances.